Hello, I'm Dr. Stephanie Ray, and if you're about to enter a pageant or have entered several, then you know that there's pageant paperwork involved. Having been a state and national title holder myself, I really appreciate the importance of the pageant paperwork. Different pageants call it different things, but the bottom line is you want to be thoughtful about what you put on that paperwork because it could ripple through out the entire pageant. Let me explain. Well, first, let's start with filling it out. Please be accurate. Don't put down anything about yourself that isn't true, obviously. Perhaps don't put down anything that's too old or not typical of you. Usually there's some limits to the space, and you might be a very varied person. You might have lots and lots of interests. Whatever you put on that paperwork is fair game in most pageants for the interview judges to bring up in your personal interview. Once in a great while, it could even be something that's heard in public on stage. So think about what you put in that paperwork and say, would I want to answer an interview question about this? Of course you want to be error-free. Now that's different than accurate. Accurate has to do with kind of the content. Error-free means don't spell things wrong, don't leave big gaps, don't do kooky things. Make sure you follow the instructions that they gave you. Use your head and be professional and elegant, and sometimes less is more. Now let's say your paperwork is done. You think it's done, but make sure you have somebody other than yourself read it. So it's in and the pageant's begun, and it's very possible, as I said, that those judges are going to have your pageant paperwork. So make sure that you review the paperwork before the interview. Remember what you told them and look at it, and if by chance you did miss some error, be aware that the error is on there, or if something kind of comes off funny and it's going to sound humorous if somebody else reads it, that might be the kind of thing that somebody brings up in the interview, so you won't be as caught off guard. If you shared something that's particularly personal, perhaps some question on the pageant application paperwork asked you to share what was your most sorrowful event or your most embarrassing event. There can be all kinds of questions they ask you to get to know you a little bit better. Think through what you said and be ready to talk about a couple of skills that you learned from what happened, or qualities that you used that turned something negative into a positive. We've all had embarrassing or sad things happen to us. We might have been the victim of something terrible or suffered from some disease, or who knows what it is. But if you can say, yes, this isn't something that I can show resilience about, professionalism about, then you can turn any negative into something positive if you've thought it through. And presumably you wouldn't have put it on your paperwork if it wasn't some aspect of you that you were willing to share. So be prepared to talk about any of those kinds of things. And when I talked about that sometimes even the things on your paperwork can be shared publicly, once in a while when you're parading in the pageant in your swimsuit or fitness attire or evening gown, or a little bit as you're coming up to introduce yourself briefly at the start of the pageant, whatever, once in a while the Master of Ceremonies, the MC, will read some little bit. He'll read everybody's favorite book, or he'll read everybody's favorite movie star, or whatever it is that they've asked, that they've decided that they'll read to kind of fill the air while somebody's walking. Think about what you'd want the world to know while you're parading on stage. Use the pageant paperwork as a way to position you in the minds of the judges as being a good fit for the title. Check out some of the other videos on this channel, even consider subscribing so you don't miss anything. And check out PageantToPhD.com, my website, where I have the Pageant Interviewing Success Made Easy book, which is really almost like an encyclopedia of great information about how to help you succeed not just in the pageant, but in life. Because pageants are just a beginning, and the skills you learn here can transfer out into other areas of your life as well. Okay, so I will see you next time.